withdrawal, the 21st Division in Pora and the 71st Division in Layak, supported by Philippine Scout artillery batteries, slowed down the enemy war machine. At Layak Junction, Jose Calugas, a mess sergeant of the Philippine Scouts, sprang into action after one of his unit's guns got hit by advancing Japanese tanks. He ran forward under enemy fire and mobilized 2 days Philippine Army lieutenants. Manning their 75mm cannon, they continuously fired at the enemy. For this exceptional act of heroism, Sergeant Calugas was awarded the U.S. Congressional Medal of Honor, the only Filipino to win this award in World War II. After the long withdrawal to Bataan, the defenders now felt it was time to stand fast and face the enemy squarely. The first main line of defense in Bataan stretched from Mauban in the west to Abukay in the east. The western section was defended by the 1st Corps, while the eastern section was guarded by the 2nd Corps. Arrayed against the 80,000-strong Filipino-American forces were some 60,000 battle-hardened Japanese troops. Although outnumbered, the Japanese held the upper hand because of superior arms and logistics and control over air and sea. The Japanese launched their main attack on the east side of the Abukay line. But despite repeated attempts, they failed to break the 41st Division, commanded by General Vicente Lim, the first Filipino graduate of West Point. Meanwhile, inside Manila Bay, Q-boats of the Philippine Offshore Patrol also distinguished themselves in action.
Half an hour. Air-sea battle between 9 planes and 2 Q-boats, and we hit 3 of them. We shot down 3.
However, the gallant stand of the 41st Division and the other use-of-air units could not stave off a Japanese breakthrough on the western side of the Abukay line. Faced with a roadblock which threatened to cut off the use-of-air front lines, the Bataan defenders were forced to move back. Outflanked as well on the eastern side, the defenders withdrew southward to their second and final defense position. This was the Bataan defenders' moment of truth. They had to hold the Orion-Bagak line at all costs. If this line were to be broken, the defense of Bataan would collapse. The Japanese launched attack after attack on the Orion-Bagak line. Again and again, they suffered heavy losses. In a bid to outflank the Filipino-American forces, General Homa sent a battalion by boat to land behind the line.
And they were already in the streets, in the road. And the Air Force and the PC and what have you, they fought back.
The Japanese were spotted as they emerged on separate points of shoreline. The ragtag use-of-air units defending their rear positions ferociously, the Japanese attackers were annihilated. At the height of the action, Jose Tando, a Philippine constabulary captain, rose to the occasion. Tando's heroics helped win what came to be known as the Battle of the Points. While the second line was still being formed, Japanese infiltrators managed to break through. Cut off from their units on the other side of the line, the Japanese troops consolidated and became a threat to the Bataan defenders.
It was a jungle warfare where you can hear the sound of the Japanese rifle, but you could not see where they come from.
American tanks were deployed to crush the enemy inside Yusufa lines. But the dense jungle made it virtually impossible to pinpoint the Japanese positions. Igoro troops from the 11th Division came to the rescue.
Filipino soldiers, or whoever they were, would jump on top of the tanks to try to lead the tank to where the Japanese were.
A lot of Japanese got killed in that action. Not only in the pocket that was wiped out, but even those that attacked the front lines. They were doing banzai attack there in the front lines, trying to penetrate our line, but they were not able to come through.
Coordinated action gradually wiped out the infiltrating Japanese units in what became known as the Battle of the Pockets. With the Phil-American victories in the Battle of the Points and the Battle of the Pockets, General Homa realized his worst nightmare. It was already mid-February in 1942, and the determined Bataan defenders were still holding their ground. Japanese troops had suffered grievously. 2,275 men killed in action, and 4,049 wounded. By contrast, elsewhere in Asia,